Okay, good evening. You're joining me on a very warm evening. It's currently about 29 degrees last time I looked, which for us in the UK, that's pretty hot. We're in the middle of a heat wave, and I'm loving it, to be honest with you. So I fancy the session outside. I do have my nice air conditioning inside my gym at the moment, but I just fancy being out in the sun because you guys know, if you watch my channel regularly, I'm a bit of a hippie and like being outside. I'm in the middle of a cut at the moment. Actually looking, can see a little bit of something's going on. I'm in the middle of a cut at the moment, but I'm still trying to maintain some kind of strength standard. So the idea tonight will be I'm going to work up to a max set of 5. I am hoping for somewhere around 160-ish. I don't know if I'll get it for 5, but certainly 160-ish. That'll be a pretty good marker to say that. Not at absolute maximal strength. To be honest with you, when I'm dieting, I never even try to go for absolute maximal strength. But 160 will be a pretty good strength marker for me. My max is somewhere around 190, thereabouts. Or should I say my most recent max? When I say recent, that was last summer. So to be fair, that's almost a year ago now. So yeah, this year, I think I've hit 160, maybe once. In fact, I think I did it on a video a couple of months ago. But it's been a while. It's been a while. So 60 kilos warmed up really nicely. I'm just warming up in sets of 5. You guys know when I'm doing my heavy stuff, I warm up in very, very low reps. One day I will actually start and film a bit of a circuity workout or a bodybuilding style workout. I haven't filmed one of those for ages because I keep on talking about low rep stuff, but you also need to see my high rep stuff as well. Anyway, enough talking. I'm going to go on. I'm going to go straight into 100 kilos because that feels pretty good. Warming up nicely. First time in ages I can actually say that, to be honest with you. 100 kilos felt sweet. So you guys who have followed me before and seen my videos before, I just play it by ear. So rather than wasting energy on 120, I'm just going to go straight to 140. I'm going to do 140 for a double, I think. Just have a feel of it. And assuming that moves okay, I will top out at 160. But just see how it goes, really. Felt a bit heavier. Maybe I should have done 120. It was a bit of a shock to the system, to be honest with you. It moved anyway. It moved relatively quickly. I'm just going to go for it. And yeah, I'm going to go 160. I always set my standards pretty high. So 5 reps, I think will be a bit of a challenge. Considering I'm a little bit down in body weight, a bit restricted in calories and doing a lot of cardio. See, I'm already setting myself up to fail. That's a load of nonsense. Okay, I'm going to get 160 for 5. Forget that. Forget I even said that. 160 for 5 coming up. Okay, that was really heavy. That was really, really heavy. Ooh. Yeah, that was definitely my 5 rep max for today. It's weird. I said to you guys, you know, if you've been watching my last few videos, so I've got a bit of a cold coming. Weird, I know, in summer. I've been trying to maintain a level of strength in my training at the moment, because I'm doing a lot of cardio, like fasted cardio first thing in the morning. I'm up to an hour and 15 minutes. Those of you who follow me on Instagram, I've been posting quite a lot of my Instagram stories, my sort of like 4:35 a.m. walks in my local park, lots of hills and inclines and things. But in the process of doing so, you can't help but lose a little bit of strength, and obviously you're going to lose size as well. So I am still trying to maintain a good base of strength rather than just getting carried away with doing cardio and circuits and things. So 160, although it felt like death, that's a pretty good marker. One, considering I haven't done it for a little while, and two, obviously being a little bit lower on calories. So I will take that. I tell you where I really felt it was in my sort of lower back, my spinal erector. Even though I train my back a lot, obviously in terms of deads and squats and things, it just hits different. Is the best way I can describe it. A good standing military press, you really find out what your core strength is like. And I can definitely tell I haven't hoisted anything very heavy over my head for quite a while, because it felt very heavy in the hands. It's weird because my warm-ups were great. My warm-ups felt lovely. but I think I did misjudge. I should have maybe gone 100 kilos, 120, 140, because that jump between 100 and 140 really did feel like a shock to the nervous system. The 60 to 100 was absolutely fine, but the 100 to 140 really did feel like a shock. So, you know, we live, we learn. I'm not always the smartest person, and I do get a bit carried away. But even so, I shouldn't be disappointed. 160 for 5. And my technique when it comes to push press and things sucks. Anyway, I know it sucks. So a couple of those were like a hybrid of a push press and a kind of strict press. I've just never, even though I've got quite strong legs, I've never ever truly been able to get my form right and really give myself 100% power from my legs. I do tend to rely on a lot of my sort of structural strength and my just sort of raw pressing power, which is weird considering I'm quite a long-armed guy. Hopefully you guys saw my one of my more recent videos. Kind of coming back from injuries and things, I managed to hit 220 plus chains on my bench for a nice poor set of 6. So my pressing power on a good day is still, it's not 100%, but it's still decent enough. So there was a lot of me just simply relying on that then. Anyway, enough talking. I am going to do a back off set in another minute or two. I'm going to go back down to 140, and I'm going to try and get a set of 8 plus. 8 plus will be a nice target. My PB ever is 12. I'm not in 12 form at this stage, but I think 8 and maybe a little more, that might be there. That might be there. So the idea of a back off set like this is my brain, even though I can physically see that I'll have taken 20 kilos off the bar, my brain, my body, my nervous system is primed for 160. So I will take advantage. So theoretically, the first 3 or 4 reps should move relatively smoothly. So hopefully I'll just power through those. And then normally by the time you get to about 5-6 reps, things slow down a little bit. I was messaging back and forth with Happy Limpet recently, and he was saying, Happy, I'm talking to you. Long time supporter, as always, thank you, brother. We were talking about his PB of 100 kilos for 22 reps on the bench, which is phenomenal. But I was just making a few suggestions. And there's a couple of things where you can do moderately high volume for multiple sets to kind of build up your rep endurance, but also the technique which I'm going to use today is just taking a load of weight off the bar and then priming your nervous system and getting the reps out that way. Anyway, enough talk. I'm going to go and actually get the action done now. Okay, that is my workout done. I'm just focusing on a heavy press tonight. With my heavy sessions, I normally concentrate on just one compound exercise. Sometimes I do a bit of support work. I'm not going to tonight. Shockingly, I know. I have got clients in about 10 minutes time. So I need to tidy up outside and get the gym ready for my next client. So yeah, military press, military push press, whatever you want to call it, standing press, all the same thing, getting a bar and pressing it over your head. Sometimes I think we get a bit too pedantic when it comes to naming exercises. I have had people come on my page every now and then and kind of correct me because I use the incorrect terminology. So if I have offended anyone, I do apologise. But I'm pressing something heavy over my head for a few reps. But it has just got so many overall strength benefits. I'm not saying it is the best delta builder, but it's right up there. Some people might get more out of a seated press. You can certainly move more weight, but if you're talking all over brutal strength, a standing military press is pretty hard to beat, to be honest with you. And you can take it as someone who's as hardcore as you're probably going to get. I squat, I bench, I dead, I clean and press, high pulls, Olympic, whatever. If it involves an Olympic bar, I've done it, to be honest with you. And for me, as an overall strength marker and a strength builder for all over body strength, a standing press, a standing push press is a great builder because it is just that raw, brutal caveman strength. We're all kids. I've alluded to this before. A lot of you guys are in my kind of age bracket. I'm in my late 40s, I'm 47. And you may well have grown up like I did watching WWF. Well, it's called WWE nowadays, I know, but when I was a kid it was WWF. And you'd always see guys like the Ultimate Warrior, who was my boy, and he'd do his gorilla press where he'd press his opponent over his head. And anytime you saw a wrestler do that, or certainly me as a kid, I used to think it was so cool and so impressive. And I remember actually, as a kid, pressing one of my cousins over my head. We were around one of my uncle's houses and I actually pressed him over my head. I was a strong kid. I was a big strong kid, and I actually managed, he was one of my smaller cousins, but I managed to press him over my head. And I remember doing it in secondary school as well, when I was a first year in secondary school, or year 7 as we say now. We used to have kind of little impromptu wrestling matches and stuff, and I remember managing to press a kid over my head when I was like 12. So I grew up with that mentality. I wasn't a horrible kid, but I was an active kid. But the idea of pressing something over your head is just awesome. So if you can get yourself underneath a bar and slowly but surely build. The very first time I did a standing press, I was quite late to the game with the standing press, because nowadays we see it quite a lot, don't we? But I started in the mid-90s, and again, it wasn't a thing. You did seated dumbbell press, you did seated Smith machine press, you didn't even do seated barbell press. It was either a seated dumbbell press or a seated Smith machine press, or if you were lucky, if your gym had it, you might do like a hammer strength machine or something like that. So I was probably training for at least 7 or 8 years before I actually, it was probably the very early 2000s, before I started actually pressing a barbell over my head in a standing position. And I remember, and at the time, probably 7 or 8 years into training, I was benching well over 200 kilos, and I was deadlifting into the 300s, and I was squatting into the 300s or thereabouts. But I remember attempting 60 kilos on a standing press for the first time, and it was so hard, and I felt so embarrassed and shocked. But then I kind of checked my ego at the door, and I literally just treated it like a new challenge, until I got to be reasonably strong at it. I wouldn't say I was efficient, but I could move some okay weight. And within probably about a year of doing it, I managed to work up to about 140 on it. And as soon as I was starting to move 140, getting 140 for a few reps, I really noticed just everything became so strong. My bench started to grow, everything started to grow. My lower back, my whole structure, I just felt so strong and so much stronger for it. And today, coming on it, having not done it regularly for a few weeks, it was again a wake-up call. I'm lucky because I've got a reasonably good base of strength, but it was a wake-up call. I could feel my lower back and mid-back absolutely firing just to try and stabilise that bar overhead. My delts are pumped, triceps felt good. I could even, feel like my upper chest. Ooh, can see a few cuts coming there. The diet's working, people. I could feel my upper chest firing, could feel everything. So, if you can get into it, I highly recommend it. Anyway, on that note, I'd better go. Here I am talking away, and I've got a client in a couple of minutes. So don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, hit notification, all that good stuff. You guys take care, and I'll speak to you soon.